Hi everyone, my name is Itai. It's spelled I+AI. I want to talk to you today about my process of creating music together with AI. My process works like this. I have a conversation with the various tools that I use, whether it's a ChatGPT or a music creation tool or an image creation tool or whatever it is. I go into this conversation with an open mind and I try to describe the thing that I'm looking for. And the AI will give back some sort of response, whether it's a lyric, whether it's a song, whether it's an image. And I will take that and I will start to listen to what I'm getting from the AI. Sometimes the AI does exactly what I want. Sometimes it doesn't. Whatever comes out, I'm going to consider it and see how to build that into the creative process. It's definitely not a single prompt. It's definitely not everything coming from the AI. It's also definitely not everything coming just from me. But through this conversation of me and the AI together, something additional gets brought into the discussion and everything gets intertwined together into the ultimate result. That is the reason behind I+AI, because that is my creative process as well. What I want to show you today is a particular poem that I put to music, and I will talk you through the process of how it happened. It started from a real life event. A few weeks ago, I had a conversation. At the end of the conversation, I felt blocked by the other person. I was trying to do all these certain things, and the person just completely dismissed me. I had a lot of other things writing along that, and so in my mind, I started thinking, no, this person is blocking me. This thing is not going to be possible. Therefore, everything else that I want to do is not going to be possible. And I started spinning around that thought. I went and I had a conversation with one of my favorite AI, which is trained in talk therapy, about that. And it helped me see other opportunities to getting around that blockage. But one of the things that came out of that is that feeling of frustration is creative gold. And I wanted to express that frustration that I was feeling in the moment in a creative way. One of my favorite artists is the multi-Grammy Award winning Joyce DiDonato. She's an incredible opera singer and an even more gifted teacher. Her master classes have changed my life. I follow her on Instagram, and I knew that she was working on a concert based on poems by the American poet Emily Dickinson. Emily Dickinson is a prolific poet from almost 150 years ago. She wrote something like 1,800 poems. I thought, having seen that, maybe I can find a poem by Emily Dickinson that will express exactly the feeling that I'm going to right now. And so I want to show you the process of how I went from that idea towards creating a full poem brought to life with the use of AI. So I went to ChatGPT and I described the sort of feeling that I was feeling. You can see it here, completely dismissed, diminished, belittled, insignificant. And I asked ChatGPT if maybe Emily Dickinson has any poems that might touch on themes like this. By the way, I usually talk to my AI. I find that it works much faster than typing, and this conversation between me and the AI becomes a lot more fluent. So you'll see some response from ChatGPT here, and it suggested the poem, "I'm Nobody, Who Are You?" Interesting poem. I went to check it out, but I was looking for other options. And so you'll see my question, what about other options? One of the things I love to do with the AI is get a lot of different options, whether it's a lyric, whether it's an idea for a poem like this, whether it's you're going to see different options for music or a piece of art. I like generating options because that helps me direct sort of the direction that I'm looking for. So here we go, a few other options. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number 3, they shut me up in prose, ended up being exactly what I was looking for. I went on trying to find the full poem and I was like, yes, that's exactly it. A feeling of being shut in. In this case, Emily's talking about prose rather than poems and her very specific way of writing outside of the rules of poetry in that time. And that to me conveyed the feeling that I was feeling about being blocked. So I want to show you the poem itself before we get into it. This is from a manuscript in her handwriting, actually. There we go. Emily had an interesting way of writing in her handwriting and capitalizing all sorts of different letters around it. What you also can see here in the manuscript is at a certain point in the poem, there's sort of an asterisk and alternate words for it. You'll find both of these versions around the internet if you look at them, but for me it's interesting to kind of try to understand the origin of it. Let's take a look just at the lyrics of the poem. They shut me up in prose as when a little girl They put me in the closet because they liked me still. Same word, still. Could themselves have peeped and seen my brain go round. They might as wise have lodged a bird for treason in the pound. The ridiculousness of, trying to shut somebody in a closet, in prose, in rules. Himself has but to will, and easy as a star, look down upon captivity. The alternate words here, abolish his captivity. And laugh, no more have I. This beautiful release at the end of it. So going back to the feelings that I was feeling back then, the frustration at the beginning, then the sort of laughing at, wait a minute, you think you can block me, you cannot block me. There are infinite ways to go around any single thing, 84,000 ways up the mountain. And then this idea of being able to just will it, and easy as a start, look down upon whatever it is that is your captivity, see it from a different direction, and say, I am no longer bound by this. So this is the poem that really drew me in. I felt like it was really telling the story of what I was feeling in that moment. And this is the poem I wanted to work with and set it to music. So let's see how I did that. So we continued the conversation. First, I wanted to see if the poem is in the public domain. I don't want to take somebody's lyrics without asking them for permission first. So you'll see that. Yes, it is. I asked ChatGPT, what musical styles do you think might fit this? Again, I'm looking for some ideas in the ideation phase here. GPT came back with a number of different things. Modern chamber folk elegy, kind of describing what it means by that. Trip hop noir. Some of this is informed by previous music that I had been creating, and my conversations with ChatGPT get captured by its memory feature. So it knows me a little bit in my style already. I didn't like any of those suggestions, and so I said, I want something dark. I want something haunting. Maybe somewhere around number 1, but also something that just grates against your soul in pain. I asked for more directions around that. Whispered funeral waltz, ghost choir minimalism, broken music box with dissonant cello is the thing that caught me. Yes, this is what is happening right now inside my body in this feeling. So I went with that. As you can see, let's go with number 3. What I'm asking ChatGPT to do right now is to generate for me the specific inputs that I need to get to the AI. In this case, I'm going to be using Suno to create the music that I'm creating. For Suno, we need lyrics. We need some instructions in the lyrics themselves to talk about the musicality of it and the production of it. And we need something that's called a style tag, which describes the music, the evolution of the music from verse to verse to verse. And so I'm asking ChatGPT, follow the style that we chose together and give me something. Because as you can see here in the style tag, it has a lot of different things in it. And for me to kind of pick up exactly all the different elements, I don't want to start from that. I'm going to get a clean draft already from ChatGPT, and then I'm going to work off of that. And then the lyrics, I've asked it to add musical instructions in square parentheses. The AI can follow these to also get some more directions on what it's going to do with the music. So now I'm going to go to Suno. This is a screen in Suno that I'm using. There's a lyrics box here on the left-hand side, and then there's the style tag that happens below it. There are a number of other knobs and advanced options that you can use, but I'm not going to talk through these right now. The first song that I created was this one. On the right-hand side, you'll be able to see the style tag and the instructions that I used at that point. Those were the first draft from ChatGPT. What you'll also see as I was flipping through the library is that I generated something like 70 different versions throughout the process of doing this, and you'll see how it worked. Let's listen to the first one. I like the detuned cello that you can
They
hear.
shut me up in prosy as when I
They shut me up in prosy. You can hear it mispronounced in there. I moved on to the next one. The music box.
They shut me up in prose as when a little girl. They put me in the closet.
You hear that dissonant chord progression and note progression over there? I really like this one, and as you can see, I just save it by clicking a like button. I like the certain things that catch my ear, and then I go and work off of those. I continued probably generating 10 different versions of that song using that style, using that prompt. And as I'm seeing now, I didn't like any of the other versions. So at that point, I went back to ChatGPT. I asked it to add more in the musical instructions or details, instrumentals in between, and I probably edited the lyrics myself. Some of the things that you can do is if you want to space out the different words or verses, you can add spaces. And so I do some of these tweaks on my own just to play around with it. Here comes the next bit of the feeling tone of it. Can we make the entire beginning feel a little bit more painful? I like more screeching, more dissonant, more like the grating against the rules and boundaries and everything and being shut in. Again, this is the emotional tone that I was feeling in that state, and I was just pouring that out through speech into ChatGPT to try and get it to work off of that first draft and change it into a different direction. The style tag that it gave is a slow waltz, oppressive and claustrophobic from the first note. So you can see this is more like vibe instructions rather than specific musical terms, but the AI can pick up on this. And then begin with a warped, detuned music box. Okay, now it's warped and detuned, so it becomes a little bit more interesting. You'll see the musical instructions, continue with that, glissandos, sharp cello harmonics, etc., etc. Let's go back to Suno and see what we got. So the first one with the oppressive was this one. Here's the first one I liked. Let's listen to it.
They shut me up in prose as when a little girl.
Notice the prose.
They put me in the closet.
Closet. Amazing.
Because they liked me still.
Continue to generate more and more. Here's another one.
They shut me up in prose as when a little girl.
So Broadway.
They put me in the closet because they liked me still.
I think in this point, I got the idea of Broadway as well into my mind. And so something that comes in from the AI puts another image in my mind, and I can continue to work with that. One other thing to note, we heard the prosy. In the poem itself, the P is capitalized. I changed that to a lowercase p so that the AI doesn't get confused and try to pronounce that as a name. So you can sometimes change the spelling to get the better pronunciation of the word. And so if I continue to browse through my library, the process is this. I go, I put the lyrics in, I'll make any changes myself, and then I'll create multiple versions and I'll start listening to them. You can create a version in seconds. It takes a lot more time to actually listen to what the AI gave you and try to decide which direction do I like more. To me, it's like a photographer taking 1,000 photos in order to find the one that they like. But as you're going through it, actually being able to react to that, changing the instructions a little bit here and there, and thereby continuing the conversation. I'm looking through the versions here. I'm seeing a change in what I created in between these two where the style tag changed a little bit. So let's see what I did there. Okay, a couple of things. This is what I mean by the style of it. Do not capitalize any of the words that are in the lyrics. I want more screechiness in the beginning, more screechiness in the musical instructions, more screechiness. So I at some point added, after verse 2, crazed, mad-like, sad laughter. Ha 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 ha. I heard this thing in my mind and I put it into the lyrics myself to kind of play around with it. I want to hear what this sounds like. feels like it's screeching, you know? This is like laughter. Let's try another laughter. I guess that was a laughter too. Here's another version.
For treason
Where?
in the pine.
Oh, what delicious laughter, right? At this point, the only thing that I was doing is just making some small adjustments in the Suno interface itself and generate more and more and more and more versions. This is the one I liked. I want to play you the one I liked because something interesting happened at the end of it. I kept on using the same prompt, but using it across multiple generations because of the stochastic nature of the AI model. Sometimes surprising things can come in. So this one starts as a waltz like all the others.
They shut me up in prose.
It continues to some of that maddening laughter.
Look down upon captivity and laugh. No more have I.
Oops. Mexican trumpets? I didn't ask for any of this. All of these were an AI hallucination. But that is what caught my ear, actually, because the poem talks about being shut in prose in particular lines. It then moves into this, like, well, in my interpretation, ridiculing the shutting in as madness because they could have peeped and seen my brain go round. And then the release of, like, a man has but to will, and easy as a star, look down upon captivity and say, no more have I, breaking free of the rules. And here, the AI subtly stepped out of the waltz, stepped out of everything, brought in Mexican trumpets, flute, whatever kind of mayhem that came in. And that was exactly what I wanted. So this became the version that I liked the most. I edited a little bit more. And now I want to show you a reel that I made on top of that using AI to generate the video for it.
They shut me up in prose as when a little girl they put me in the closet because they liked me still. Still could themselves have peeped and seen my brain go round. They might as wise have lodged a bird for treason
That's it. So that's a little bit about the process and the conversation between I and the AI. And I hope you enjoyed it.